Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today's Star Guide is only a day after PAX East, and I've got a huge amount of information to talk about. We've got dogfighting game modes, leaderboards, what ships you can fly, and the entire project plan for the DFM and beyond. Enough fancy words, let's kick this into high gear. On April 11th, Cloud Imperium Games hosted the Dogfighting Module reveal in downtown Boston. After a few brief delays, Chris Roberts came on stage and began explaining what we now know as Arena Commander. Arena Commander is the now official name of the Dogfighting Module. It is the in-game simulated flight environment where players can test their mettle in combat, bet on competitive matches, or simply go into free flight and enjoy the sexiness of their ships. Arena Commander will be the second module for Star Citizen, the hangar being the first, and should see an official release by the end of April or the beginning of May. Considering we only have 2 weeks left in April, my bet is on an early May release to deal with those pesky bugs we've seen from PAX gameplay. Now that you know what Arena Commander is, let's talk about what ships you'll be able to fly day one. First up is the RSI Aurora, a single-seated ship which will be privy to its full arsenal of weapon controls, including lasers, missiles, scanners, and other equipment. The second ship available to backers will be the Origin 300i. This ship is a step up from the Aurora, which will host a dedicated missile guidance system and any additional armaments that come with the base model. Finally, we have the Anvil Hornet. Featuring a Gatling cannon and interactive turrets, this ship will be sure to cause a ruckus. Now, before we move on, I have three important things to say regarding these ships. First of all the ships I mentioned are the base model and not variants. Later on in this video, we will talk about variants, but as it stands now, only the base models will be available at the launch of Arena Commander. Second, if you do not own any of these ships listed here, do not worry. Chris Roberts promised backers that if you own a ship that is not available in Arena Commander, you will be given a Loner Hornet, which you can play with until your ship becomes available. Using me as an example, I own the Vanduul Merchantman, the Constellation, and the Cutlass. Because none of my ships will be available in the first iteration of Arena Commander, I will be using a Loner Hornet. Finally, Chris Roberts stated that once the assets for the Avenger and Cutlass are done, they will be added to Arena Commander. This will probably happen between versions 1 and version 2, but no exact time frame has been given. Likewise, additional ships throughout the development lifecycle of Star Citizen will be added without needing to switch to a new version of Arena Commander. Basically, whenever a ship is done and ready for combat, they will be added. Up next, we're going to talk about game modes. Each game mode will feature a unique simulation to try to fit multiple playstyles and preferences. I'm going to go over each mode, so let's get started. First up is Free Flight. Free Flight will allow players to take their ships into the verse without experiencing catastrophic failure from Vanduul or player attacks. You'll be able to fly your ship in peace within the various Arena Commander maps to test controls, flight maneuvers, or just relax. The second game mode is Battle Royale. Battle Royale is essentially free-for-all, where no one is your ally but the guns and missiles under your wing. To those that are excited for Battle Royale, I say this: may the odds be ever in your favor. The third game mode is Squadron Battle. This game mode is your traditional team deathmatch where teams of 4 vs 4 fight for supremacy. Take your time in Squadron Battle to see what works and what doesn't in team combat. Up next is Capture the Core. This game mode is what we know as Capture the Flag. We didn't get too much information on how this will work in space, but most of us have played this kind of game plenty of times before, so we have a general idea on what to expect. The final game mode is Vanduul Swarm. This is a horde-type game mode in which players fight against NPC Vanduul in waves. In later iterations of Arena Commander, you'll be able to join up co-op with friends and fight side by side as waves of Vanduul appear on your map. Now that you're familiar with all 5 game modes, let's talk about what maps you will initially play on. Up first is the Broken Moon of Tyrannus. Based on my impressions, this map takes place above atmosphere, where a mining operation is currently underway. There are tons of debris, such as metal bits, rocks, and so on. If you're flying on this map and only focus on your enemy, you're gonna have a bad time. The second map available for play will be the Dying Star of Pyros. The visual details in this map are absolutely stunning. Having played both the Broken Moon and Pyros, I enjoyed Pyros the most. Dodging asteroids and broken chunks of this world, the red, yellows, and oranges illuminating the black of space make for a visually impressive environment. Chris Roberts stated that there will be more maps added as development progresses. He didn't say how many, but I'm sure we'll find out a month or so after the launch of Arena Commander. Next up, we're going to talk about leaderboards. Leaderboards will show data for your accomplishments in ranked and non-ranked gameplay. Each game will collect statistics such as kills, deaths, accuracy, and so on. One of the cool features of the leaderboards is that you can not only look at pilot-specific statistics, but an organization as a whole as well. Perhaps you want to see which organization has the most kills or the most accumulated playtime. Either way, it offers objective data that is tracked both individually and as a group. Another exciting feature on the leaderboard will be daily, weekly, monthly, and all-time rankings. The Star Citizen servers will be collecting, analyzing, and resetting ranks based on those time frames. This means that even if you didn't play Star Citizen day 1, but still want to prove that you're the best, you can still show rank standings in the daily, weekly, and monthly competitions. Now, before people start complaining that Arena Commander is only about PvP, just wait a minute. Chris Roberts spent quite a bit of time explaining that the upcoming Arena Commander is more than just PvP. Not only is Arena Commander a small part of Star Citizen as a whole, within the simulation itself, you'll be able to practice against AI, which will offer its own competitive worldwide rankings. This means that you can grab a few of your best buds and compete to see who's the best in the world at taking down waves of Vanduul invaders. Now, everything from this point on in the video is about what will be available in later iterations of Arena Commander. No hard dates were given, but there is a lot of juicy information, so let's get started. The second version of Arena Commander is being called Revenge of the Vanduul. This is the first introduction of the multi-crew ships such as the Constellation and Freelancer. With this, they will also be adding co-op AI pilots to help crew your turrets and op stations for those larger ships. You will also be seeing single-seat variants for the original base models of ships such as the Aurora, 300 series, and Hornet. Finally, we will be getting in-game communication. At the DFN reveal, Chris Roberts literally said only that, and nothing more on communication. He has talked about in the past about a VoIP system in conjunction with hailing other player ships, but it's possible that this could just be a text chat-based system as well. Let's move on to Arena Commander version 3, Heart of the Empire. In Heart of the Empire, we will start seeing more environments such as space stations, mining colonies, and others. The biggest addition, however, will be the FPS boarding mechanics. This is a huge step for Star Citizen and will introduce the tactical style FPS combat to the game. Chris Roberts went out of his way to describe the combat as tactical and strategy oriented rather than twitch. For example, if you get shot in the leg, you lose mobility and need to be dragged from the front line by either another player or NPC. This works in conjunction with ships that have onboard medical bays to heal your player. Heart of the Empire will also feature a Capture the Idris mode, which will be another game mode to take advantage of the FPS boarding system. Lastly, CIG will be including double precision coordinates for larger maps.
So for any of the geeky programmers here, most game engines run in 32-bit, which is fine for first-person shooters because you don't have very large play areas relatively, but in space, you've got, well, more than thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of kilometers, and so the precision in 32-bit just isn't enough, and it's actually a limitation of every single game engine out there. So we actually have a fairly big engineering effort underway right now to move us to double precision, which is basically 64-bit. So that will be...
With that, we've seen the majority of what CIG has planned for Arena Commander. However, the development of Star Citizen is much more than just Arena Commander. After Heart of the Empire, we will begin to see integration of the planet side and FPS modules. We will be able to travel between star systems. Finally, we will start to see the pieces come together under one system. And honestly, that's what Star Citizen is about. It's taking everything we've ever wanted in a space sim without the shackles of ruthless publishers and creating something unique, something amazing. That about wraps it up for today. I hope that my coverage of the Arena Commander reveal event was able to sate your appetite for information. In the future, I intend on creating more Star Guide videos covering in-depth analyses of the new Dogfighting Module gameplay. Likewise, I plan on doing a giveaway of some amazing Star Citizen loot that you can't buy on the official website, but more details on that later. Thanks everybody for watching. My name is Byronic, and that is it.